Well, unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to meet Bill yet, but I've heard there's some raving lunatic fans of yours in my company. Excited, read all the write-ups, excited about what you've been doing for a while, and really excited to have you on stage to share with us some of the things you're doing with Domo. But tell us a little bit about yourself and your business and how you're using Domo.
Who would have thought a kid from Kaneohe, Hawaii would be sitting with you here today? I just checked with Elon and Grok and ChatGPT. They said Domopalooza is better than a Taylor Swift concert. So that's where it started, kid in Hawaii. Why do we get 100 inches of rain? Was a Star Trek fan, so science. And just kind of where what is all this science about? So that's kind of where it started, 30, 40 years ago.
And how do you guys use, what do you do at Weather Trends and how do you use Domo?
Yeah, so again, I am the real Captain Kirk. I went to MacDill Air Force Base. I always say God puts someone in your life, sometimes for a season, a day. I met General Stormman Norman Schwarzkopf, and he said we need longer range for 1989, so I'm dating myself.
General Schwarzkopf.
If you know a Styx song, you know who Schwarzkopf was, right? So it was longer range forecasting. Don't change your mind once you give me a forecast. So it's how we started thinking with dump Rutgers physics, think statistics, climate cycles to predict sensible metrics, temp, rain, snow, out a year everywhere on Earth. So we commercialized this in 2002, and Walmart was the first client.
And so you take data and you can predict how 1 degree change in the forecast, right, is going to affect a SKU in a zip code.
Yeah,
correct. Is that accurate?
It's the power of 1 degree, how 1 degree of temperature influences what you'd buy. So again, Walmart was the first client. Again, my next client was Anheuser-Busch, and they said, who are your clients? And I'm like, Walmart, let me tell you what they're doing over at Walmart. So I never answered the question. But we've quantified the day, so it's all automated. What every 1 degree of change, what you buy. So today's a good example here in Salt Lake City. Right, last year was in 70 degrees, 67, 70 degrees. You were in shorts, cleaning your lawns, you were doing outdoor spring stuff. It's 25 degrees colder than it was last year. Right, so that power of 1 says that every degree colder, you're going to drink 2% more coffee. So there's a 20% lift in coffee sales today. Well, on the downside, if you drink Coke, those sales are actually down 20, 30, 40%. You're going to be more inclined to drink your hot coffee. So it's quantifying that weather's influence on seasonal sales. We've analyzed about 10,000 categories from the Walmarts, Target, Kohl's, AutoZones of the world, to then project those sales a year ahead by week by store everywhere on Earth.
How do your clients take that data and respond? What are the actions that they take?
So if you can get the weather right, and we've got Casey in here from Medea here, she'll talk in a minute here, but if you can quantify weather's influence on sales, right? So Medea knew they needed exponentially more inventory. Right? Where do you put it a year ahead? We were actually saying it would be the coldest winter in 7 years. NOAA didn't say that. AI models all said hot, hot, hot. Here we're saying the coldest in 7 years. It was the coldest in 10 years nationally. So Medea has more inventory. Where do you put it? We said East Coast. NOAA said West Coast. West Coast was hot. So where do you put that inventory? How do you allocate? How do you market?
NOAA?
National Weather Service, okay. National Government, National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration, right? So they came out in November saying really warm winter, and completely wrong.
And then you've got all that data. How are you using Domo? How do you leverage Domo to distribute that? Or
we met Cody about 9 months. Cody Irwin, head of data.
Cody Irwin.
When I first met Cody, Josh, I was like, wow, there is something special about Domo in this culture, right? When you meet the employee, is a rock star, and I knew this was a special partnership. And so we built this software with Domo that actually took our kind of DAS model of year-ahead weather sales analytics, right? So we're telling Medea for Walmart, Home Depot, Kohl's, all their stores, Lowe's, Amazon, how much product, when, where, by week. But it was just kind of a DAS data feed to her platforms that she had to put into, Power BI or her boss's Excel spreadsheets, right? It was very laborious to kind of use that data. Partner with Domo and Cody, and we built this analytical platform that now she can go in and see that, hey, Walmart DC 6066, September of 2025, heater sales up 300%, hottest, best in 10 years, 5 years, right? She can then send that data to her customer Walmart. It's just so powerful.
So they change ordering, they change inventory.
Classic example, Casey Santini, where are you, my dear? She's out there somewhere. But so Casey, she got a call in November from Walmart, panicked, because it was a hot November. And we missed it by a week, because we had to get it really cold at the end of November, December. And we said it'd be the coldest in 20 years, the start of December, and great heater sales. So we're sweating it out, right? Everybody's saying hot, and we're saying cold. Missed it by a week, but she hit it. And Walmart called saying, hey, we got to cancel your domestic orders. We don't need any more inventory. NOAA's saying warm winter. Weather hit, praise God. Coldest in 20 years, started December. Her sales went through the roof. And again, Walmart.
Is that Medea?
Yeah.
So that was that deal that I'd heard
So
that they saved because of.
CA was able to, fend off the panic because it's a reactive world. Right?
Sure.
We're all so reactive, right?
Sure, but data is not very emotional. So show the data and save a deal.
She saved, and then Walmart calls in January, hey, are you gonna have enough for this cold winter, right? She did.
What other areas do you want to unlock using our platform?
I think it's just it's endless, right? I mean, NOAA says, 1/3 of our GDP is weather-sensitive industries. That's $10 trillion, according to NOAA, before Congress, right? So again, we're not at 10 trillion in revenues yet. So I think the opportunities, even with Wall Street, right? I mean, good example is last year Wall Street thought that Home Depot's Q1 sales would be negative 1%, right? They factored in all the AI stuff, right? Housing market, interest rates, interest rates were up 3%, 0.3% over the previous year. All those things, they're down 1%. The reality was they didn't factor in to be the wettest spring we said in 31 years. It was the wettest in 40 years. We were kind of right, mostly right. What do you think Home Depot stock did on a really wet spring? Down 3%. Stock craters 25%, right? We said Q3, right? So now the baseline for Wall Street is down 3%, right? Q3, hottest, driest in history, with 4 landfalling hurricanes. Every hurricane gives Home Depot about a 0.5% basis point lift in sales. So 4 times a half is simple math. We said they'd be down 1. Wall Street saying down 3. They were down 1. Stock goes up 25%. So
Why is your data more accurate?
Because it's, I said God invents math. We use math, statistics, climate cycle. We use a sine wave physics theory. It's just a better way. It's not physics. I'm a physicist by degree. It doesn't work. It doesn't work in weather. So you ask your phones today, who's got Siri, who's got Bixby, ChatGPT?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, what's the weather forecast for this fall, next year? It's going to come back and tell you, I can tell you the weather for the next 10 days. That's physics, the next 10 days. That's useless. If you can revolutionize this with real business intelligence for every industry, again, 1/3 of our GDP.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you coming to share with us the use case and how you guys are doing it, and definitely looking forward to hearing a lot more about use the AI products, and hope to see your business continue to grow. So thank you much. But let's give a big hand for Captain Kurt. Thank you, sir. We appreciate it.